Hey guys, this is Blogger the Hut, and these are my two credits about two essential guides that are still essential. Essential guides were books produced in the EU, or Legends as it's now known, time, and they were just some of my absolute favourite books as a Star Wars fan as a teenager, because they just gave some really nice detailed background information and a visual representation of all the kind of there'll be books on droids, books on ships, books on planets, books on characters, and sort of really brought to life all these features of the stuff that we'd only read about in novels, and it really brought them alive. I think one of my absolute highlight moments as a young Star Wars fan was finally getting to see what a K-wing actually looked like. Yeah, go look up K-wing on Wikipedia. It's a crazy, awesome starfighter, and I really hope they bring it back. Anyway, rambling. So they are of course steeped in EU Legends lore. So in terms of relevance as a guidebook, most of them are a bit obsolete by now. I'd still highly recommend them. They're really good books, really interesting, lots of facts you can find in there. But I've got to appreciate, for fans of the new canon, the information is going to be inaccurate, let's say. But there are two that I would highly recommend you get your hands on. The first, I would say, is the Essential Reader's Companion. Now, what this is, and it's a big fat one, is a summary of all of the novels published in the EU. And it's ordered in timeline order rather than publication order. So if you want to learn a bit more about Legends, if you want to know about sort of where Thrawn fit in on the timeline, say, compared to how he is in the new canon, if you want to know about sort of what happened post Endor, as opposed to the First Order and all that, or if you want to go backwards, if you want to find out what happened before the prequels, a lot of ancient history in Star Wars as well. Really good book. Really nice, concise, but accurate summaries of all the novels. It is basically focused on novels. So there were a lot of comic books and video games and other stuff that made up the EU, but the novels really were the sort of the backbone of it. In much the same way that the movies are kind of the backbone of Star Wars canon now. So it's not 100% complete, but I think the core sort of story is really there. And if you want to just kind of dip into it, find out what happened at this sort of period in time, then yeah, definitely recommend it if you want to kind of know a bit more about Legends without having to read hundreds and hundreds of books. And the second one is the Essential Atlas. And even if you're not interested in the EU, I would still recommend this one. Okay, it's an atlas, so that's obvious. It does delve a lot into history. It will cover a lot of Legends lore as well, in terms of like the Old Republic and again post Endor, the Imperial warlords and stuff. So some of that sort of content is again historically inaccurate, or whatever we want to call it. But first of all, it has probably the most accurate Star Wars galaxy map out there, and certainly the most comprehensive. And at the back of the book, there is a huge list of planets with grid references. So even the ones that aren't featured on the map, you can look up where they are. And that was like massively useful for me as a fan. And lots of the planets that are being brought into these books, there's a lot of new ones, but there are also plenty that are being brought back from the EU. So if you want to find out where a planet is, actually there's a good chance it might be in this book, and you can look it up and know exactly where in the galaxy it is. It also features some really good maps that sort of show where in the galaxy different people travel to. So it's got a lot of Clone Wars battles mapped out in terms of where all the different hyperspace jumps were. It's got stuff from the films as well. If you want to dive into Star Wars, if you want to know where planets are, Essential Atlas, definitely go for it. So guys, that is it. That is my two credits on two essential guides that I think are still essential. Like I said, I still enjoy, they're still on my shelf. I still enjoy reading all of them. But if you don't know anything about Legends, I would still say those two books are well worth getting your hands on. Okay, that is it. Ramble over. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to subscribe, there's a big red button that you can click. You can also follow me on WordPress and on Twitter, where I regularly post out Star Wars and other sci-fi stuff. But for now, thank you so much for watching.